Hey guys, for this video I want to do a PS1, PS2, PS3 collection video. Now I know it sounds like a lot, but I actually don't have too many games for these three consoles. The Sony consoles, as I know some of you know, I didn't grow up with any Sony consoles. I owned like a PS1 for like, I don't know, maybe like a couple months, a PS2 for a couple months, and PS3 I only got not too long ago. So I didn't grow up with a lot of the games on those consoles. So now I've kind of wanted to go back and explore those libraries, especially the PS1 and the PS2, because like, you know, some of the greatest games of all time released on those two systems. Tons of JRPGs. JRPGs are the big thing, like especially with with PS1 and PS2. So many JRPGs I want to play for that. So there's not going to be much here, but I wanted to just do a collection video showing off what I have now. And then maybe in a couple of years or so, do like an updated collection to see my progress. I guess with the bad thing with PS1, I'll start with the PS1 games. There are a lot of games. Like I have a list that I've done. The amount of games I want for the PS1 is insane, and the bad thing is a lot of them are damn expensive. So it's going to cost a lot of money to get my PS1 collection to exactly where I want it and to have all the games I need. But let's start things off with Crash Bandicoot Warped. This is the third game in the series. Crash Bandicoot, this one I did actually own when I had a PS1 for a short period of time. And this, I haven't played the others, but this game is, man, I love this game. I haven't played it since then, so I want to see how it holds up to how I remembered it, but I remember just having a blast with this game. I remember it being fairly challenging, some really creative game levels. Of course, it's a Naughty Dog game. I think, yeah, I know they're big now for, of course, the Uncharted series, which, I'll be honest, I actually don't like the Uncharted games that much, but from what I've played of this game, I swear I've played a bit of the second Crash game, but from what I've played, the Crash games seem really fun. I can't wait to actually jump back into this. Actually, this game's pretty cheap, too. You can get this for, like, hardly any amount of, I think I got this for, like, $10 at a flea market, complete, so I definitely still need to get my hands on the first game, the second game. I've heard the first game doesn't hold up too well, but I think there's also Crash Bash and Crash Team Racing. I'm not sure really what Crash Bash is about, but Crash Team Racing I know is apparently a pretty competent Mario Kart clone, so I really want to get that game someday. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot Warped. The next games are Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX. Haven't played these. Obviously, I've only actually played through and completed Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo. I've heard not so great things about Final Fantasy VIII. A lot, like, I remember when it came out, you know, people loved it, but now, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people out there that don't find this game that great. I know Squall, the main character, is hated by a lot of people. And Final Fantasy IX has actually kind of become this game that lots of people love, and a lot of people say it's even better than Final Fantasy VII. I don't own Final Fantasy VII yet. It's a bit too pricey for my liking whenever I do see it, like, on eBay. In Canada, we have to pay ridiculous shipping a lot of the times. But it's gone down in price. I remember it used to be like Final Fantasy VII was like a $60, $70, sometimes $80 game for a black label copy. But it's gone down to like the $40, $50 range from what I've seen. But yeah, I had to get the black label copies of these two games. And these two games are pretty cheap too. Both of these cost me, I think, $20 each complete off eBay, so they're not too bad. I really can't wait to get into these. Final Fantasy IX I'm going to be playing this year as a part of my backlog challenge. Don't know when I'm going to get to 8 because I'm a bit hesitant on it considering all the negative opinions around it. Although, I don't know, ever since 13 came out, maybe this one's not the worst in the series like I hear a lot of people say it is. But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII and 9. This next game I'm playing right now, and that's Grandia. I'll have a review up soon because I'm almost at the end, I'm pretty sure. I probably only have a couple more hours left of it. But yeah, I'll give my review soon. Overall, though, I love it. I like it a lot. I don't love it enough to really want to immediately jump on the second and third games and buy those yet. They're not too pricey, but there's other games around at their price ranges that I'd rather get instead. But yeah, Grandia, I had to have this in the collection, and this game's not too pricey. I'm trying to get the more like $50 and less RPGs for the PS1 first, as opposed to the more expensive ones like Suikoden II and Valkyrie Profile and such. But yeah, Grandia, great game. Heart of Darkness. It's got that. I got this at a flea market, and I just picked it up really quick because I heard great things about this game. I'm not too sure on the style. I think it's like some kind of like adventure game of some sorts. I've heard really good things about this game, actually, and I saw it at a flea market for, I think this number, it says 35 there, it was not $35, I think it was like 10. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this game. Heard some great things about it, though I actually haven't looked up too much on it. I don't actually like to look up on too much info on games that I know are apparently good, just to be surprised when I do eventually get around to playing them. But that's Heart of Darkness, one of the few non-RPGs on the PS1 that I have at the moment. This next game, Rogue Trip. I don't know if too many people have heard of this game. I had this when I owned a PS1. This is an excellent game. It's done by the guys that do the Twisted Metal games, and it's basically a really competent clone of those. It's got the charm and humor that those old Twisted Metal games had, Twisted Metal 1 and 2 especially, and it plays just like them. It's really fun. It's got an excellent two-player mode, a great soundtrack. It says, featuring the music of the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I really like them, and their music in this game is excellent. So if you're looking for like a Twisted Metal style game, definitely look for Rogue Trip. It's very cheap too. Like, this is like probably like $3 to $5 game at the most. But yeah, Rogue Trip, definitely an underrated game on the PS1. One of the few games I remember playing back when I had one, or one of the few games I owned back when I had a PS1. This next one you'll remember from a pickup video I did not too long ago, Spyro Year of the Dragon. Found this for cheap at a local gaming store. I haven't played it yet. I borrowed Spyro, the first one, from a friend back in the day when I had the PS1, and I absolutely loved that game. I'm curious to see how it holds up, and before I play this, I do want to play that one first and grab the second one. But yeah, I couldn't resist seeing it at the local store. I had to pick this up, just from my memories of the first Spyro game and how much I enjoyed that. So that's Spyro. This next one, Star Ocean: The Second Story. This was in my backlog video. I'm going to get to it this year. Really enjoy Star Ocean 3 and 4, so I'm definitely excited to hop into this one, considering it's widely regarded as the best game in the series. A lot of these PS1 games, I know they're on the PSP, like, these games have received ports on the PSP, but I don't know, I don't have the PSP right now. I am going to be getting one eventually, but I'd rather get these on the PS1. I don't know, I'm stupid, I know. I'm paying so much more money doing that, especially with some games like Valkyrie Profile, for instance, but I don't know, I wanted to have the original Black Label PS1 copies. I don't know, I'm just crazy like that. The next game, I did a review on this, Suikoden. You can check out that review for full thoughts on it, but a fantastic RPG. It has a few issues, I think, but it's really excellent, and I can't wait to, well, when I do eventually buy it, I don't know when, like, Suikoden II, I was just looking on eBay, like, there's no auction, there's like one auction on eBay for it, like all of them are like $700 buy it nows. The lone auction is already at $195 for like a complete copy. Like, that is insane. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll ever get Suikoden 2, but I do really want it. And the last PS1 game, yeah, don't really have too many, but Xenogears. Also did a review of this game. This is my favorite PS1 game so far. Even Grandia is not holding up to this game. Like, this is a masterpiece. If you haven't played Xenogears, definitely go out and play this. It's a bit expensive to get a PS1 copy. This was like $50, but it's on the PSN network if you don't care about having a physical copy. But this game just blew me away with its fantastic storyline, amazing dual battle system, and one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a long time. After hearing the soundtrack of this game, I immediately went on the internet and just, added a bunch of them to my favorites list on YouTube there. But Xenogears is absolutely fantastic. But those are the PS1 games, and I'll move on into the PS2 games. Okay, now the PS2. When I've reached a point where I'm pretty much satisfied with my collection, I'd say the PS2 collection will be my largest. The amount of games for this system that I want to play is insane. Having missed out on pretty much the entire library, yeah. And I already have a decent amount of PS2 games, and the fact that there's still so many I want, this is definitely, I think, going to be up there with my 360 collection when all is said and done. Anyways, the first game I've got here is Ark the Lad, End of Darkness. Haven't played this yet. I know there's also Twilight of the Spirits, and of course Ark the Lad, the collection on the PS1. I've never played a game in this series. I think it's like I don't know about this one, but I know it's supposed to be like a strategy RPG series, kind of. I haven't heard that they're the best. I've heard they're decent, so I'm not terribly thrilled to jump into them, but I do want to get around to this series at some point. This game in particular, I've heard mixed things about, but I saw it at a GameStop for like, I think it was like $2 and it's complete, so I was like, what the hell. I'm probably going to end up trying to get all the RPGs for the PS1 and PS2 anyways, so I picked this up. So there's that. Next game, Elico II. This is a pretty big series now. I guess there's, 3 on the PS2, and then I guess Quagga on the PS3. I don't know. Tell me if there's more. These NIS or NIS RPGs are, I don't know, who does this game? I think, what, does Gus do this? I don't know. A lot of these, there's like the Hyperdimension Neptunia games, the Atelier games, the Elico games, the Mana Khemia games. A lot of these I've never played. I don't know much about them, but I do want to get into them eventually. This being the second game, I'm going to try to get the first game first. But this was like Ark the Lad. I saw this for like $2 at a GameStop, and it's complete. So I grabbed it. And this might be hard to find. I'm not sure. I think this is supposed to come with like a box set, but obviously it didn't come with that. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm probably not going to go out of my way to get that. Clock Tower 3. I have played about 3 hours of this, I want to say. I don't know. I wasn't really getting into it. I was kind of getting bored and kind of annoyed with it. It's definitely got some great ideas. Like, you don't have any guns or weapons of any kind. You basically got to run away from the monsters and hide in different places. And, the tension, there's definitely a lot of tension there, but I don't know. I found the save points were really, spaced out, so whenever I'd fail, which was quite often, I had to replay large sections. I don't know, it just got to be bothersome, so I kind of put it down. I don't know, if anyone's played this, tell me if it gets really good later, and I might pop this in again and try getting a bit farther, but yeah, I kind of dropped it. But I did want to grab this. I want to play the first 2 Clock Tower games. Those games look a bit more appealing to me than this one. But yeah, Clock Tower 3. Here's a classic that... now, Dark Cloud. I was lucky to find this at my local EB Games for like $10. I remember going in buying it, and the guy at the counter is like, "Oh, you're lucky. I was gonna buy that," or I think he said that. Yeah. So I got lucky and grabbed this quick. Now, interesting thing about Dark Cloud is I had actually played this before when I owned a PS2 for a brief period. And I gotta say, I couldn't get into it. I found I don't know, I just couldn't get into it, and I don't know why. It's might be because I was maybe a bit too young to understand a lot of the concepts and things like that, although I highly doubt it, but I may be able to get into this game better now. Although I will say, the second game looks more appealing to me, like the art style in that game looks more appealing. I've heard it's just a better game overall, although there are some people that do prefer this one. But I will get around to playing this at some point. I just don't know when. It's just as far as level 5 games go, there's others I'd rather play before this. Next, Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. This game, I guess, is like a third-person shooter type of game. I've heard mixed things. There's some people love this game, some people hate it. I gotta say, from the gameplay videos I saw, it looks pretty decent. So I do want to actually try this, although I definitely want to play Final Fantasy VII first. So I don't know when I'll be getting around to this, but you know, it's another one of those games I saw for cheap. It was complete, so I definitely grabbed it. Oh, and this next game, lots of people love this one, Dragon Quest VIII, and this is that box set. This game, I'm so glad this is not like a lot of games where they're super expensive. This game is very cheap. I got this for $10 on eBay, no less. But obviously great. I've heard great things about this game. Tons of people love this game. Lots of people say it's the best Dragon Quest game, Level 5's best game. And when I was reviewing Ni no Kuni, someone I think told me that Ni no Kuni is very similar to this, and I've heard a lot of people say like this game is very similar to Ni no Kuni. So I know this is not part of my backlog, but I'm very tempted to just throw it in there because I do really want to get around to this game. Though, you know what? No, I have Dragon Quest IV in the backlog. I'll play that first and then maybe get to this one after that. Then Final Fantasy XII, another one of those games I saw for cheap. I'm trying to get all the Final Fantasy games, so I definitely wanted to grab this. I know a lot of people aren't too hot on this one. It looks like it has like a Xenoblade type battle system, an open world kind of thing going on. But I don't know. From what I've seen, it looks pretty good actually. This may end up being one of my favorite Final Fantasy games if, like, you know, it's as fun as the gameplay videos make it seem. I know Ball and Nick, this is his favorite Final Fantasy, so I'm definitely excited to jump into this one. Don't know when. I want to play Final Fantasy IV, honestly, and probably 7 and 8 and 9 before I get to this, but definitely excited to get into this game at some point. Oh, okay, this next game, Godhand. This game is fucking amazing. It's getting kind of pricey, although, is it on PS? I don't know if it's on PSN. I was lucky and got this for like $2 at a Hawk Shop type place, complete. This game, obviously, Clover Studios game. It got bad reviews actually when it came out, but now people are loving this game more nowadays. Just a really fun beat 'em up with a great style, like really quirky characters and storyline. It's just one of those games that just is so fun to play. Damn difficult though. Even easy mode on this game is brutal. But still, such a super fun game. If you see this game, grab it. Honestly, even for like I think it's what, a $30 game maybe? Even at that price, this is totally worth it. Definitely a gem on the PS2. This game was in a pickups video, Vice City. My favorite Grand Theft Auto game with one of my favorite soundtracks. Love almost every song on here. Love the storyline. Love the Scarface influence. Love everything about it. Just all around a fantastic game. Still need to get Grand Theft Auto 3 and San Andreas, though I don't know if I'm going to get San Andreas. I have that on like a downloadable version on the original Xbox and went through that not too long ago, so I'm probably just going to pick up the third game, which that game is pretty nostalgic to me. Not on PS2, but I played it on PC back in the day, and I remember, obviously, that game was very controversial, and I loved that game, but I could never beat it. Some of the missions in that game were just ridiculous, but this was the first Grand Theft Auto game I actually was able to finish, and it still is my favorite. Grim Grimoire. I've heard great things about this game. It's another one of those games I found for cheap, and I heard good things, so I picked it up. Honestly, I don't really know what it's about. Honestly, I don't even know what genre it is. I should really look more on this game, but I don't know. Perhaps soon I'll pop this game in and try it. But yeah, Grim Grimoire. Jak 2 and Jak 3. I don't have Jak and Dexter, the original. I have played that game back when I did own a PS2 for a short period of time. I love that game. The original Jak and Dexter are awesome. These two games went in a different direction. These games aren't as lighthearted and as comical as that game. They're a bit darker. I know a lot of people weren't really fans of that. I don't think I mind. I haven't played. Granted, I haven't played these yet, so we'll have to wait and see what I think of them. But yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna get around to these. I don't know if I want to play the first one again. It's fairly fresh in my memory, but I don't know. I've heard these games are still worth playing, so I'll definitely be playing them at some point. Here's another game in my that was in my backlog video, Kingdom Hearts. Don't own the second game yet, well, because I'm not going to get it if I hate this one. Though I doubt I'll hate this. A lot of people, this is a classic game, have never played it. But I'll be playing it soon. Be playing it this year at some point. Khemia 2. Another one of those games I saw for cheap and had to pick it up. JRPG. I still need the first one. I'm not going to play this one until I play that. Now these kind of RPGs, the Khemia, the Atelier games, they're games I'll play eventually, but there's other games I'd much rather play first. Cause I don't hear best RPGs ever kind of opinions from people on these ones, but I was happy to pick this up. And two of my favorite games on the PS2. One of them is my favorite game on the PS2. Got Persona 3 and Persona 4. God damn, these games are good, man. Oh, Persona, I haven't played Persona 2 or 1 yet. I'm very excited to go to those, play those games, although they're expensive as hell. But I've heard they're a bit harder to get into after playing these two. I played Persona 3 first, and then moved to Persona 4. Both some of the best RPGs I've ever played. Amazing storylines, amazing school-type gameplay where you're doing social activities, raising social links. The battle system is, one of the best battle systems I've ever... my favorite... It is my favorite turn-based battle system are in these games. I definitely highly recommended. They're both beasts of games. They're both 60 to 80 hours long each, but highly recommended, man. Persona 4 in particular, even though I do have a soft spot for Persona 3 and like some of the stuff in this game better, Persona 4 is my favorite PS2 game. Honestly, I don't know if anything could top this game. This game was just so goddamn amazing. But these games are just, oh man. I'm so sad that I missed out on these games when they first came out. This next game is a game I've always wanted to play, Radiata Stories, done by Tri-Ace, one of my favorite developers, known for the Star Ocean games. This game, I know the big thing with this game is a bunch of recruitable characters, like in the Suikoden games, and Chrono Cross, I believe, has a bunch of characters you can get. I know lots of people aren't too big on that. I personally love that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited to dive into this game, see what it's all about. I've heard it's actually really good too, so one of those really underrated RPGs on the PS2. And this is cheap, so yeah. Next we have Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando and Up Your Arsenal. Just like with Jak 2 and 3, I'm missing the first game. I don't know, I find the last two games of the trilogy, but miss out on the first one. I know there's now the trilogies on PS3, but the fact that I already have these two and Jak 2 and 3 for the PS2, I'm just going to get the whole trilogies on the PS2. This is a series I just haven't gotten into yet, or haven't played yet. I'm really excited to dive into these, though I don't know when I will get around to them. Too many games, so little time. Okay, I don't know why I have this game. My brother just gave this game to me randomly. I don't know. So I tried it briefly. It's meh. A very generic shooter. Basically, the only reason I'm keeping this game is because the case is pretty much brand new. So if I get a PS2 game with a crappy case, I can just swap it with this game. Rogue Galaxy, another game in my backlog. Going to be playing this soon. I've heard it's a beastly game in terms of length. It's out of all the level 5 games, this one looks the most appealing to me. I love sci-fi settings, especially in RPGs. So I'm very curious about this game. And hey, I've heard it's an amazing game as well. So definitely excited to dive into that game. Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. I'm not getting the other two Sly Cooper games. I tried playing this, not a fan. I don't know, the stealth aspects just kind of ruined it for me. I'm just not big into stealth games. I don't know. I think I've pretty much given up on stealth games. The Hitman series is probably the only type of stealth game I can get into. So I don't know. I just wasn't feeling this game. Next we have Tales of Legendia. Huge Tales fan, of course, so I had to get this. Don't have Tales of the Abyss, have it on the 3DS, so I don't really see a point in owning the PS2 game. Though, if I ever do want to go for like a complete Tales collection, I will have to get it eventually. This game is very underrated. Very, very underrated. I loved this game. I thought the storyline was one of the best storylines I've seen in a Tales game. I loved the characters. Battle system is a bit basic compared to a lot of Tales games, but I still found it really fun. It's got its problems. Oh, also one of the best soundtracks in a Tales game too. Not done by the usual guy, Motoi Sakuruba, or is that his name? I don't know. I can't remember his last name, but not done by the usual guy. But really excellent soundtrack. It's got its flaws though, and the world map's kind of a pain. It's got random encounters, and the dungeon designs are kind of bland. But overall, just a really underrated RPG. Maybe it's just because I'm such a huge Tales fan. Maybe I liked it more than I probably should have. We've got Xenosaga Episode 1 and Episode 2. Still need to find the third one. That one's the pricier of the three. I've played the first one, actually, back when I owned a PS2 for a short time. And I got to a stealth section, then I just said, fuck it, I'm done. I remember it being very frustrating. And it's a shame, because I actually remembered enjoying everything up until that point. I'm going to be getting back into these games at some point, because I have heard good things. Well, not Xenosaga Episode 2. I've heard this game's actually pretty bad. But this game and the third one I've heard are excellent, so when I do eventually get the third one, I'll have to go and play these three games. And finally, for the PS2 games, we've got Yakuza and Yakuza 2. And Yakuza 2 is getting expensive. I don't know why. Both of these are excellent games. I'll talk about them more in the PS3 video, because I have Yakuza 3 in the PS3 collection. Okay, finally the PS3 collection, starting with Archon, Elico, Quagga. This was in a pickups video not too long ago, probably my last one actually. Yeah, like the one on PS2, I haven't played this, obviously. It's going to probably take a while to get to it. I just bought it because it was the lone copy at my local eBay Games for like the longest time, and I figure, you know what, I may never see this game again, I might as well pick it up, because I do want to play this at some point. This next, Demon Souls. Now, I wish I had that Ultimate Deluxe Edition they put out. It was a bit more money, but, like, I'm telling you, this series, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Souls series, one of my favorite series this generation. I do prefer Dark Souls as opposed to this. This game's a much more challenging game than Dark Souls. You know what, I'm probably going to save my full thoughts on the Souls series for actually another video. I want to talk about this series in great length because I just love them so much. But this is definitely a must-have PS3 game, and it is definitely my favorite PS3 game out of the games I have played. Just an absolute masterpiece. Just absolutely amazing. Disgaea 3. In terms of the Disgaea series, I've played the first one. It was one of those games I did play on the PS2 back when I owned it, but I didn't get very far into it. I don't know, I really sucked at it. I'm really bad at strategy RPGs. I'm trying to get better at them, but I don't know. I know the Disgaea games, you don't need to play them in any kind of order, but I feel like I should probably still play the PS2 game first. I've heard that's even still, after all these games, like people's favorite in the series. So I haven't played this, but I'll definitely get around to it at some point. I don't know if I'd like this series, though. I know it's apparently heavy on grinding, although I've heard that's only if you really just, if you don't, like, if you want to do extra content and don't just want to blow through the storyline, but I don't know. Don't know when I'll get around to this. I think Disgaea 1 is cheap on the PS2 now, I'm pretty sure. I know there's the DS version. You can get Disgaea games are everywhere. This was a recent game in a pickups video, Folklore. I've heard, like, this game, Return to Mother Base was just talking about this game and how amazing it was, and he made me really want to jump into this game. I might just have to add it into my backlog challenge, because, I don't know, I'm pretty excited to get into this game now. Apparently, I guess this game is, like, super underrated, but I'm very glad I did decide to pick this up. In terms of PS3, like, I definitely am only going for the exclusive games since I play my multi-platform games on 360, but as far as exclusives go, I actually don't think there's too many left that I need or want. 3D Game Heroes, that's the next one I'm planning to get. That game looks awesome. I got here the God of War collection, God of War 1 and 2. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the God of War games. I played through the first one. I don't have any desire to play through the second one. Like, the combat is okay. I don't know, it just kind of gets boring after a while, and the puzzles, I hate the puzzles in these games. They're just, I don't know, they get in the way, and there's this awkward platforming. I don't know, I just wasn't a big fan of God of War. Tell me if maybe God of War 2 is like a million times better, maybe I'll play it, but I don't know, I wasn't impressed with God of War. Heavy Rain. This game gets a lot of hate. I can definitely see why. The storyline is kind of, I don't know, it borrows a lot from, like, similar thriller movies, but that's one of the reasons why I liked this. I don't know, it was a very dark, gritty game. You know, even though it's all QuickTime events, they're really engaging and just, I don't know, intense. I don't know, and the story, you know, the storyline I did like the characters. The voice acting is kind of bad, I'll admit that. But I don't know, I loved this game. I thought it was excellent. And it lends itself well to repeated playthroughs. I played this game, I think, 3 times over. I don't know, just you know, my only problem with it is the intro. The intro is too long and drawn out and kind of boring. But once you get past that, the game gets really good. I don't know, I don't hate this game. David Cage, the creator of this, he's kind of, I don't know, a bit full of himself, I guess, but I don't know, I like his games. Indigo Prophecy was another really good one, back on the original Xbox, and I think PS2 as well. But Heavy Rain, really enjoyed this game. Another game in the backlog, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. I think, you know what, I think after I'm finished with Grandia, this is the next game I'm going to get to, these two, because, oh man, I keep hearing such great things about these games, and they do look awesome. Shadow of the Colossus in particular, to me, but definitely excited to get into these games. Ninja Gaiden Sigma, a remake kind of the first game on the Xbox, Ninja Gaiden, which is one of my favorite games of all time, actually, and my favorite original Xbox game. That game is just, you know, these hack and slash games, I don't love them. I do enjoy the Devil May Cry games, but, like, I think the original Ninja Gaiden kind of perfected this style of game, and back when it came out, and I think the only game to ever come close to it is Bayonetta. But I love this game in particular because of the exploration later in the game. I don't know, it just has a great exploration to it, lots of hidden secrets, very challenging, satisfying gameplay. I don't know, just love this game. I haven't actually played this port yet, the remake, only have played the original Xbox version, so I'm definitely interested to see the differences. And this game, did a review on this, you know, Cooney, amazing game, my first level 5 game, absolutely loved it. Yeah, look at my review for, I guess, more detailed thoughts, and of course, I've got the Steelbook here that I showed in the pickups video. Tales of Grace's F. As a huge Tales fan, this game kind of disappointed me. I know lots of people love this game, and that's great. But I don't know, I almost want to do kind of a review on this, but overall, I'll say I did enjoy the characters. I loved the storyline. I don't know, it felt like a rushed game to me. Visually, it's nothing great, obviously being a port of a Wii game. I thought the voice acting was kind of, I don't know, not up to par compared to other Tales games. Exploration was lacking, I thought. It gets rid of these newer Tales games get rid of the world map, and that bothers me. I know it's usually done for time constraints, but I don't know, I miss the world maps. Nino Cooney reminded me just how much I love world maps. But the main thing I didn't like with this game were the dungeon designs. The dungeons in this game are terrible. They're just like copy and pasted environments that they're so easy to get lost in. And the final dungeon in particular, like, just drove me up the wall. Like, it was so tedious and just annoying. And the battle system too. I know a lot of people love the battle system with the the CC system. I don't know. I wasn't too big on that, though. I don't hate the battle system as much as like the dungeon designs. But that said, with all my issues with this game, I still liked it overall. I still thought it was a good game. Just, I don't know, not one of my favorite Tales games. I'm hoping Tales of Xillia I enjoy more than this. Twisted Metal. Haven't put too much time into this game. This game, the controls are ridiculously complex. Like, I don't know, I wasn't getting the hang of the controls, but I'm waiting to play this. I know it's got a 2-player mode. I'm waiting till I can play this through with a friend, but I don't know, I like the Twisted Metal games. Actually, my favorite Twisted Metal game, believe it or not, is Head On the PSP. I love that game. But I really want to get into this more. Yeah. Valkyria Chronicles, another backlog game, strategy RPG that gets a lot of praise. I talked about this in the backlog video, but I'll be getting to this year. Okay, and then Yakuza 3 and Yakuza Dead Souls. The Yakuza series is quickly becoming actually one of my favorite series. It's just a really fun series that takes place in Japan, which I love. The combat is just really fun in these games. The storylines are consistently high quality. One thing I do miss, these later Yakuza games don't have English voice acting now. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I don't know, I kind of like when games have English voice acting as opposed to Japanese voice acting with subtitles. I don't know, I'm weird like that. Yakuza 3 is my favorite Yakuza game so far. I still need to get the 4th one. It's got a really long, drawn-out intro. Like, it takes forever to get into the meat of the game, but once you do get into the fighting a lot more and start doing the side quests and exploring the city, it's a whole lot of fun. I haven't gotten into Yakuza Dead Souls. I know this is more gunplay based and with zombies, but it looks like a lot of fun too. And finally, I showed this in a pickups video, White Knight Chronicles 2. I like how they included the first game with this. I thought that's an excellent idea. Of course, this basically destroys any value of the first game, but I had to pick this up. I'm trying to get all level 5's games. I know this game's not really that highly praised, but I don't know, it looks pretty good to me, so don't know when I'll get around to it, but it still looks pretty cool. And with that, that's all the PS1, PS2, and PS3 games I have. I'm sorry, I apologize for the length of the video. I know it went on a while, but I just wanted to show off what I have for those systems. Obviously, I'm missing a lot. Like, I don't know, especially on the PS1. I'm such a huge Tales fan. Why I don't have Tales of Destiny and Tales of Destiny 2, or otherwise known as Tales of Eternia, is baffling to me, but those games are expensive. Anyways, that will do it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.